had no bow thruster, no stern thruster. It had mainly no stabilizers. And if you go out in the ocean, you must have stabilizers. At least you do today. I mean, you didn't need in the old days. But when you hit rollers, you don't want that boat to be rolling around. That was a beautiful boat. Then, speaking of my boating days, I graduated to a 59-foot Grand Banks, the GB59 Europa, the greatest boat I ever drove in my life. That boat was beautiful. Two 1,100 horsepower engines, Caterpillar diesels. I took it anywhere, took it out into the ocean, loved it. And it's when Teddy was still a baby on all of these boats. And he's back at the house, by the way. He's not out with me because he's got vestibular disorder. I'm afraid he'll fall off the boat. But he remembers the days of going out. He wanted to come with me just now. I said, no, Teddy, stay home till the barbecue. You'll get a piece of steak later. So we went out on that boat many a time, and I enjoyed that a lot.
I want to welcome now host of Savage Nation radio show and podcast host of The Michael Savage Show. He's got a new episode, which goes right along with what Jason was saying, the phony, divisive impeachment show trial, which fits perfectly with our theme today. Dr. Savage, it's great to have you back on the program.
Greg, thanks again. You're doing an amazing job. These are very difficult times to be an American and watch the Soviets at work, tearing our nation to shreds. Here we have a divided nation, an election won by a hair. Divided, let's say divided. Why would you want to antagonize half the nation with lies? But the good news here for all of us who see the truth, I believe that true history will see this impeachment charade as the greatest political blunder in history. I do not believe it is selling. I don't believe the average American believes much of what they're selling. If I may go on, I know time is limited. I watched the propaganda film they put out. It would make Leni Riefenstahl proud to see what they did. Selective editing, selective clips. How did they tie it to Trump? There was no direct connection. It was ludicrous. What the Dems are doing to Donald Trump mirrors what the Romans did to Tiberius Gracchus, a populist Roman politician who dared stand up to the swamp of his time by daring say to the aristocrats of ancient Rome, I want to break up these large estates and give the land to the people. Not identical, but he took on the swamp. He wound up first exiled and then killed. The Dems are no different than the demagogues of ancient Rome or the demagogues of the Soviet Union. What effects will the sham trial have on the nation is the real question. Will anybody remember it come the midterm elections? What do you think, Greg? I think they will remember it. I believe they're going to remember this and they're going to vote the Democrat bums out.
Well, I say to myself, Grant, this is not going to be good for the next few weeks, few months, couple years till we turn it around, 4 years from now. But the bottom line is no one is going to remember this sham of an impeachment trial because it's just what you said. You and I talked earlier, and you said they thought they were impeaching President Trump, indicting him. But what they did was indict themselves, and that really is on display, isn't it, Dr. Savage?
They're damaging the republic. Hopefully the people will see through the sham. They remind me of the vermin prosecutors who take innocent men and try them without a trial. It's something that was done in the Soviet Union. These people are the lowest form of humanity, the so-called impeachment managers. These are the type of prosecutors who destroyed lives their whole lives. They're the lowest kind of lawyer. And now they're trying to destroy America. They're not just destroying Donald Trump. They're destroying 50% of America. We voted for him. And I'm antagonized more than I've ever been in my life. I will tell you right now, I'm angrier than I've ever been in my whole life watching these vermin. I have no other word for these garbage people. I'm so angry.
Well, you should be angry.
It's a sham trial. It's a Soviet trial.
Safe place for you to get angry.
And we only hope that the American people are smart enough to see through it.
Well, I'm going to make you angrier just for fun because I don't know. I shouldn't say that I like to watch Michael Savage get angry, but I like the fire and passion. So I'm going to play this one soundbite. They talk about an armed insurrection, and this infuriates me. Roll the soundbite.
Armed insurrectionists, guns, weapons, zip ties, brass knuckles, they were coming for us. They were inside the United States Capitol.
Now,
Oh
one,
my God.
I watched hours upon hours of this video. I didn't see any of those things.
Greg, can we say 5 people were killed? Can everyone agree with that? 5 people died. Is that correct? Who was killed? One female Trump supporter, a 13-year veteran of the U.S. Air Force, was shot to death, shot in the neck with 1 shot by a Secret Service agent. She was shot to death. She was unarmed. 3 of the Trump supporters had strokes or heart attacks. The cop who died of a stroke or a heart attack, not from a fire extinguisher. This is not a trial. This is a condemnation of 50% of the American people who wanted our borders, language, and culture supported, not destroyed. What about the hordes coming in from Honduras right now? Is that what America needs? We have a COVID epidemic. Would it suddenly disappear?
And here you have them, Dr. Savage.
Has anyone tested these hundreds or tens of thousands of Hondurans on the border for COVID? Oh, Biden said he's not
No,
going to
of course
test
they're not. No, they're not. Of course they're not. You and I both know they're not. But this is what we're doing. We're forced to watch this play out. Dr. Savage, it's always great to have you on the program. I so appreciate you coming on.
Remember, it's no longer a radio show. It's the Michael Savage podcast. The only place to find me.
That's absolutely right.
Thank you.
Before we came on, I listened to a little bit of it. Thank you, my man. I appreciate it.
President Biden has a big problem when it comes to the truth about getting out of Afghanistan. Top generals testifying today on Capitol Hill and directly contradicting a key claim made by the commander-in-chief. All 3 military leaders say they warned Biden to leave thousands of troops in the country to avoid a catastrophe, but he didn't listen. And then he claimed it didn't happen.
I recommended that we maintain 2,500 troops in Afghanistan.
My assessment was, back in the fall of 20, and remain consistent throughout, that we should keep a steady state of 2,500, and it could bounce up to 3,500, maybe something like that.
Their input was received by the president and considered by the president.
So no one told your military advisor did not tell you, no, we should just keep 2,500 troops. It's been a stable situation for the last several years. We can do that. We can continue to do that.
No one said that to me that I can recall.
And while President Biden's calling how he left Afghanistan a, quote, extraordinary success, General Milley says the rest of the world doesn't see it that way.
I think that our credibility with allies and partners around the world and with adversaries is being intensely reviewed by them to see which way this is going to go. And I think that damage is one word that could be used.
And what about accountability? If you think at least some heads should roll for this fiasco, think again.
Senator, as a senior military officer,